Hello and welcome to Columbus Local Podcast. This is episode number 75. I feel like celebrating.
Oh, that is. That's like a very special number.
And we get to
don't know why.
celebrate. It is very special because today we're featuring Tammy Mills, the one, the only Tammy Mills. How are you?
I'm awesome. How about you?
Doing great. Tammy, thanks for bringing this red wine. It was good. What is that we're drinking today?
It's called Vin Velour. It's which I think means wine. No, it's velvet wine from Cooper's Hawk.
Oh, sweet.
It's to knock the edge off. So, which I think the edge is knocked off literally.
Yeah, that's
so we're
cool.
good.
Yeah, no, I think so too. It's excellent.
Yeah.
It's an excellent wine. Thank you for that.
I feel like we're on one of those Saturday Night Live skits where we talk about muffins and stuff. And we're like, this wine is good.
Pretty close. It's pretty close. We, you're in a lot of projects. It seems you're dabbling and you're exploring constantly for as long as I've known you, which has been how many?
14 years.
Oh, you counted it?
Yeah, well, we asked me earlier, and I thought, what if I get tested on it? So I did the math real quick.
There's no
So I got out my phone, and,
You got your phone and
did the math.
All
it's
that.
14 years.
Because our paths have crossed a couple of times.
Yeah.
And, you've substitute fronted a band that I was recently in.
For Charles, he had a wedding.
Yeah.
He had a wedding.
That was fun. That was out at Buckeye Lake.
Yes, it was. You know what? I was so excited about that because you have this like normal genre that you tend to sing in. For some reason, you're always like cast in the same kind of band. And I remember looking at the set list. You sent it to me. It was like pretty short notice too, but I was so excited because it was Those Shoes. By the Eagles. And I just remember, like, I don't care. This makes my whole day. I'm going to sing Those Shoes. And that was just the coolest thing.
And I made them learn that.
Oh, good for you.
That Potter song.
Oh, yeah, that you did. Because we only rehearsed once.
What was her?
Grace Potter.
Grace Potter.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And you killed that too.
Oh, thanks. I love that song. That's a fun song to sing. There's certain songs that I love. Like, I would sing them a million times and they don't get tired of them, so.
For those that don't know Tammy Mills, she is a vocalist based in Columbus, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And so you're singing in how many projects now?
Well, right now, so I think I'm still in Vinyl Sunshine. And what I mean is I don't know if I'm still in it. I think the project's still going. So it's a 70s production band. It's just, rather management is... The guy that manages is booking it anymore. He kind of got busy in some of the other projects, so I'm not sure. So that I did for the last, I guess, 2 years, and then a new band called Undercover, which is a lot of different stuff than what I've done, more 90s. And I don't know if it's just because I started young and I was in a band with my dad. So of course, when you're in a band with your dad, you do your dad's music. So it was like 70s stuff. So it's totally feels like new stuff. And then I get to hang out with Paul Weiss a lot and we go just randomly play songs somewhere and, we're kind of dabbling with some ideas. And then, there's the idea I spoke with you on earlier, but we're going to keep that a secret.
So that we won't talk. We
till
will
we
not
seal
talk
the
about
deal.
that.
Yeah, till Beth's here and we seal the deal.
Cool. That'd be great. Yeah, awesome. You also, you're visiting and supporting local music on a regular basis.
Oh yeah, I love to.
Because I get to see you every now.
I know
and then
I run into you all the time.
It's hard to
yeah.
carry on a conversation.
I'll go somewhere and you have just left there. I'll see on Facebook that you were there too, like we were making the rounds. But I the Columbus music scene. So I'm not from here, and I work for the federal government, so I got transferred. So you're just forced to leave everything and everyone and relocate. And so I hadn't been in the music scene for a long time because I was, and then I had kids, and then they were all small, so I just didn't do music for a long time. I was at home with them because it's really hard to get in at 3 a.m. and then wake up at 7 and be a normal person to little toddlers. So I quit doing it. And then when I got here, they were all older, and I was like, I'm going to do this again. And I just met so many like wonderful musicians. And like anytime you're surrounded by people that love the same thing you do, it has just made Columbus home for me just because of the people. So it's like I told you earlier, I don't think it matters where I live as long as I'm surrounded by really awesome people or weirdos that like to play music.
Music's the common denominator for you.
Yes, music, yeah. Me being the weirdo, not everyone else.
I totally feel that. And I sense too for you, anywhere you are, you're going to find where the music is.
For sure.
You're just going to go there. And that's really cool.
Yeah, I seek it out. I always, every time a new venue, like I heard about Ginger Rabbit opening up and they have jazz. So I was immediately there to check out the jazz. And anytime I travel, I find, like I went to Niagara Falls and I found some hole in the wall bar that had live music, and I literally got up and sang with them. And it was Halloween, I think, and they were all dressed up because I remember somebody was like, "Where's Waldo?" And I just remember that. And I have no idea how. I'm sure I was, because I was drinking too much and said, "Hey, I sing," and you know how that works. And then, but I have a video of me in just some random city at some random bar in New York, because I will just go and befriend. You just kind of gravitate towards your people.
It's the vibe.
Yeah, you gravitate. I like to study neuroscience and stuff, and I was reading that when you align with certain people, that there's a part of your brain that's triggering the same part of their brain, and that's that click that you feel. And so I think that happens a lot with musicians.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I kind of get that same feeling, I think.
For sure. It's like you're friends and you don't really know why, but there's this underlying thing that makes you friends. And then later you figure out why. But right when you meet, we're friends. And then you figure out as you go why you're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
Thanks.
You mentioned that you support local music, you support music, you love music, you've been involved in music since young, and I think your backstory would be interesting to spend some time talking about. But before we do, have you written music?
I do. I have written a lot of songs that are 80% done, 80% done. And so what's interesting to me, like I never feel bad about being in a cover band. And what I mean is, like, sometimes people have that connotation, like, well, you're not, really expressing yourself, not that it's a bad thing, but like you should do both or whatever. But I like doing both because for me, when I write, I'm writing because I have something to say. Right? So when I write, there's something I'm thinking and feeling, and I will write because it's something I have to say. But when I play in a band and do cover songs, it's because I have something to feel. And what I mean is, how...
Oh my God, yeah.
You know how you have
That's
a
how
song,
I am, though.
you have a song that means something to you, and somebody else has already said it really well, and they've done it well, and so maybe it evokes some kind of feeling out of you. So when I'm doing those cover songs, it's... Now I don't have anything to say about this topic. It's already been said, but I feel it. And so I want to sing it and feel it. But yeah, I have written, I'm really gun shy on putting the music to it. Like, I need an Elton John in my life, because I will write the lyrics and have a little bit of melody. And it's funny, I have a lot of musician friends that, I will randomly call and try to hum the tune. Hey, da 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 da. And I'm like, can you do something with this? Which I'm sure is ridiculous, but yeah. So I'm not really upset that I haven't finished it, because the goal is not for me to. It's not necessarily like the goal is, for this to be a successful song or this to do that. It's just I had something inside me I needed to say. And it come out in a song. And so once I've said it and written it and it's kind of there and I have the melody, my phone is full of voice memos of me singing on the way to work of some song that I came up with. And somehow I just feel good enough doing that. But I'd like to get better at, completing them and doing more with them than that. But I'm okay. I'm okay with what it is.
If you wouldn't, I would be honored if you would add me to your list to listen to some lyrics or some ideas, because I'm really looking to write again.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
I have it, and I'll have I'll have an idea like, okay, I want it to kind of go like this, so I'll have like the basic outline, and then I'm like, do what you can with that.
Yeah, no, and then that's perfect for me because I get a sense of an idea, whether I'm listening alone to a drum line.
Yeah.
I'm usually drawn to the drum line.
Yeah.
And then I'll riff a bass line or a guitar rhythm to that beat. But I'm not a lyrical
lyricist. Yeah, I'm a lyricist.
person.
So I like to write. I almost got published once, which is just something I would. But for a book, I met with a literary agent in New York, and I love to write. And when I was in college, really weird. I started out as a chemistry major, so I was pre-med. Last thing you're doing is writing. But when I wrote my stories, my professors would say, "You really need to write." And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Because your writing, your style of writing just makes me get." One professor told me, he's like, I kind of got lost in what you were supposed to be writing about because I got caught up in your story. So you really should write. He's like, I forgot to look for the theories that you had and the hypothesis. And he's like, because I just got carried away in the story. And, I just struggle, I guess, with confidence with that because, sometimes you're like, oh, I think I'd be good at it. But then if you try it and nothing, happened, then you failed, and then if you don't try it, then you can just spend every day thinking you're good at it. And that's just like a barrier I think I need, I have to get through. Just the confidence.
Knock it down.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because, I'm like, everybody thinks they're good at everything they do, so it doesn't mean I'm necessarily good.
The older we get, though, I think we know ourselves better.
Yeah,
we know where our limits are.
I'm right
we're
there.
honest about them, right? It's
yep.
or you want to develop. I'm serious, though. If you have some lyrical ideas in a rhythm or something.
You're on speed dial. I'll be like, hey, da-da-da-da-da, ba-ba.
Yeah,
you got it. Do something with that.
I got it. You'd be surprised. Like, I'll lay it all down, man. It'll be funny.
All right, I'm ready.
It'll be cool.
I'm ready.
What type of genre is inside of you? Is it going along with the lyrics?
It's weird. So it's very, so it's crazy because I love singing like hard driving rock. I do. I love to wail on Zeppelin and Heart and things like that. But when I write, it is 70s singer-songwriter all the way. And so when I listen, I'm like, this is probably more country. But it's not a country sense, but it's definitely that when I write. When I write, it's very feeling and emotional, and maybe I just need to be more angry to write harder drumming stuff, but it's not. It's that's just kind of what I gravitate. But like my favorite bands are the Beatles, James Taylor, and Jimi Hendrix, and Zeppelin, and Hall & Oates. So if you look at the Beatles, James Taylor, and Hall & Oates, those are all definitely kind of that feeling lyrics. So that's where I like to write. And that's just, I don't even try to write, but that's how it comes out.
Because that's how you.
That's how I feel
that's
it.
Where it's coming from.
Yeah, that's how I feel it.
Those are all life.
Yeah.
Adventure.
Unless I'm in
themes.
traffic, then it's like Rage Against the Machine and Anthrax. Other than that.
Are you listening to that stuff now and then?
When I'm in bad traffic, yeah, I'm like that crazy person screaming out those horrible lyrics. Yeah.
Yelling at everyone else.
With my windows up so no one gets their feelings hurt.
Man.
So.
You're a keyboard player too.
I'm not as good as I was. I'm pretty sure it's a country. I know that's a country song. It's Toby Keith from Oklahoma. It's sad. But when I was in a band with my dad, I played keys a lot. Like 90% of the songs. And he did little medleys. So we did a Pink Floyd medley, tons of keys. We did a Beatles medley, like I had to play Strawberry Fields and Day in the Life and I'm the Walrus. And I was a lot better then because there was no guitar tabs, there was no YouTube videos, so I would have to listen to it over and over, and very few of them did I have on CD at that time because I was really young. And I would just have to rewind the cassette. And so I spent so much time learning it. And then after that, it kind of got where people would be more like, well, we want you out in the front. We want you performing. And so they would just kind of want me to play, a few songs instead. And so I just kind of, my chops aren't as good, So I do little things I do this I did Maggie May in my last band. And I played the mandolin, the little dun, 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 dun. And I literally learned that part so I could do that song.
That's cool.
And then now we're doing, like, you saw I did the harmonica part on Last Dance with Mary Jane with Beth and them. So I will just learn I'll pick up an instrument and learn a part. I hardly master it, but I do it good enough to get me by. Yeah. And I enjoy it. So I'm okay with that. Like, I know, like, hey, I could be a lot better if I put all the time and energy into it. But it's like, I want to put time and energy into 50 things instead of one, and that's what you end up with. So I'm all right with that.
All right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, Tammy, where did all music start for you?
So I grew up singing in church with my grandparents. My grandmother played by ear piano, so she's the one who taught me stuff, basic chords and the triad, and I remember her she had these little tricks on how to form chords. And my grandfather played the fiddle, and he had the most beautiful tenor. And so we would do 3-part harmony gospel. I was horrified. I was horrible. I mean, I would sing it really well at home, but by the time we got there, I was so nervous at church that my voice would shake. So I kind of got better as I got into school, and then, I did choir and stuff. But I joined my first band at 17 in Atlanta, Georgia. And God, we did this song. We did Head East, Never Been Any Reason. I have always loved that song. And so the guy sang the one part, and, of course, it's not a woman, but that part's so high, and I did that part, and I learned the keys on that. And man, we worked so hard. So this is a sad story, but we worked so hard. The bass player had asthma, and he had an asthma attack on the way home and crashed his car and died. So that was my first band experience. Like, we worked and worked and worked, and we were like ready to play out. And then we're at a funeral, like, and and so I didn't do anything for a while. And then my dad, I moved back home to Oklahoma, because my family's from Georgia and Oklahoma. My mom is in Georgia, and my dad was from Oklahoma. So I moved back. My grandmother got sick, and my grandfather was like, you need to come back home. So I moved back home. He was like, come here, go to college here. So I moved back, and about that time, my dad came back from Canada. My dad was on the road for Canada. He actually opened up for Metallica and Raven, and he was kind of a big deal. I actually went on the road with him when I was 15. And so I didn't see him much, because I saw him when I was 15, and he toured all over Canada. And by this time, I was 19, and I was playing Cool Change by Little River Band on the keyboard. That if there's one thing in my life, it's and he was like, "Hey, so you play that?" And he goes, "Well, can you sing that part in Stairway to Heaven?" And as we went, and I was like, "Yeah." So I was in a band with my dad. And then 2 weeks later, we were in a battle of the bands in the biggest coliseum in my hometown. So that was my first.
And how old were you?
I was 19, but that was my first live rock band, and it was
big.
It was like our equivalent of, it was Schottenstein, but it was our equivalent of Schottenstein Center. And so I just remember just being crazy. I know that Alanis Morissette song came out, You Ought to Know, and I had little purple round sunglasses on, and I just was like, I was hooked. That was it. That was a done deal. And so I played in a band with my dad for many, 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 many years. And then, like I said, I had kids, and, I did it when they were young because it was easy. I could put them to bed, and then go play. Because back then you didn't play till like 9:30, and you played till 2. Yeah. So I could put them in bed before I left, and then come back. And then, of course, I'd be exhausted the next day, but it was doable. But then, as they got older, I quit, and then I didn't do music at all again until I moved here in 2010, and there was a Craigslist ad, and I went and auditioned and started all over again.
Craigslist ad? Really?
It was a Craigslist ad, yeah, in somebody's basement, so that just lets you know how brave I am.
So you went to the basement and jammed with a band in Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah. And that was the first band I was in, and I hadn't played out in years, and I just love it. I love the whole aspect of it. It's not even the singing part; it's the performance.
Yeah,
because
you're a performer.
I could sing at home all day. It's not the same. So I just love that part of it. So
do you feel like you're the same person when you're at home versus when you're on stage in the public eye?
Absolutely not. No.
What's going on there?
At home, I'm a big freaking nerd. I am. I read and do the New York Times crossword puzzle like an addict, and I like to read, and I watch history documentaries, and I put puzzles together and do home projects, and then when I go sing, I feel like I'm almost a cool person. So, but it's just, it's it feels night and day. It feels like, which is crazy because that's kind of how my job. My job is very logical, and I do numbers, and and I am good at my job. I write databases too, so I can code, and it's very analytical and logical. And then I'll go home and paint and quilt. So there's like my brain is almost equally split to these two people that I get to enjoy both sides. And so music helps me enjoy that other part of me, the part of me that's not the quiet at home puzzle doing mode. So, but it's a lot of fun being that person because you get to, it's like you're partying with everybody there. Like everybody, I never feel like, I know it's performing, but I never feel like I'm performing. I feel like we're all partying together. I just happen to be singing the song with the microphone. Everybody else is singing in the crowd and dancing, and they're just as much a part of it. I just happen to be louder than everyone else. So,
therefore, you're the lead singer of the group.
That's the only reason why. I just have the mic, but that's what feels great about
I just have the mic.
Yeah, that's what feels great about it is just getting to hang out with everybody. Because I think anytime I go now and I see people performing and I want to be a part of it. I mean, I want to be a part. I want to sing along. I want to be up there. And that's why I think people go see live music, because just for that moment, you're a part of it.
And you get pulled up there and do it.
I love that. That's so
almost
much fun.
Every time I've been somewhere, you get pulled up.
You know what? People are so gracious. The musicians in this town are so gracious. And like, they're awesome. So it's like you get to perform with so many different great people on a different night and do random songs. It's like a high. Like when I get in the car coming home, I'm zooming. So I love it.
So cool.
Yeah, for sure cool. I enjoy it.
So what then brought you back to Columbus?
So I worked for Department of Defense, and Secretary Rumsfeld at the time shut down the base back in Oklahoma. And so I had to move. I had to pick where I was going to live, and it was either Indianapolis, here, or New York. So I actually went to Indiana first, and after being there a year, I got offered an executive job for Republic Airways. So it's a big corporate, it's the largest regional airline. Yep. And so I was an executive there for a while. Then I think Frontier filed bankruptcy, and they had some stuff. So I went back. I had to when you leave the government, like I had tenure status, so I kept my grade and everything, but you still have to reapply. So temporarily I reapplied, and the first job I got was at Columbus. So we just moved here in the summer, and that was in 2010, and I've been here since. So.
And that's how we got you.
That's how. And my kids went to high school and elementary school here, and my oldest son went to Ohio State here. So everybody has just become embedded here. But you know how it is. Like we're a big family clan. So I think you could drop us anywhere, we'd be happy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I know you post a lot on social media, your family life and having fun, and that's really good.
I have so much fun with them, and they're older, and it's a different kind of fun, but it's the coolest thing ever to have these people that are your best friends that, they don't like it, but I all the time remind them that, we went to Zion National Park and went hiking, and I was like, I gave birth to half the people in this car. And my son was like, stop. I was like, half of the people in this car were in my stomach at some point, were in my uterus. And my son was like, we know how it works. So it's pretty cool though to think that, like, to forget, you forget, and you're like, how cool is it that like I created my own little playmates, like I created these people so they could grow up and play with me. It's really amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's a close family.
It is it's a wonderful family. In fact, a lot of the musicians know them and they have become friendly. And I will take them, especially my daughters, if I go play somewhere. My daughters will be working the crowd and hugging everybody, and they know as many or if not more people than I do from coming out because they're just so personable, and they end up dancing with the everybody and having a great time. So they're very supportive, and they've always loved that I play music. And so when I have a little rehearsal place in the basement, and so every time they come over, they'll go down there and we'll sing and mess around together. So it's a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. When you came here and you decided to get back into music, you answered the Craigslist ad.
Yeah.
What are some of the bands that we might recognize that you kind of started with
Well,
and kind of pulled through?
That first one was Despite the Girl. So that was the name I came up with, like, we're really good despite the girl, things like that. It was like, we're all really...
Was that Mark Brennan?
That was Mark Brennan,
I remember that band.
That was Mark Brennan. So that, so that was the first one, and we had a lot of fun, and it was different because I had never been in a band with anybody but my dad. And that was a whole different experience. I mean, other than the first one, but I've never actually played out. And my dad is like, the dictator of, which is good. It was a good experience being with him. But
strong rudder.
Oh, it was, let me tell you, some band ethic rules. Like one time I didn't learn my harmony for a Pink Floyd song. And we got there, and I mean, I was working on all these keyboard parts, right? There's just so many. And he's like, well, everybody just go home. He made everybody leave and canceled rehearsal because I didn't learn. And literally, I still remember to this day, it was Find My Way Home. What is that? Learning to Fly, I think. And it was that little part. And I mean, I just was like, I didn't listen to it. But anyways, wow. I digress. So I was, yeah. But you know what? It taught me a really good work ethic. It did. Like anything else compared to him is a breeze now. But it did make my work ethic good. I mean, I've kind of slacked off a little bit since those days, but then it was the first band I was in, and I had so much fun with them and, their wives and girlfriends, and we became a family. Like, we even went to Pittsburgh and did a free gig for somebody's birthday. They're like, you guys will? I'm like, yeah, I'm down. We went up there and, just hung out and had a great time. And the only reason we quit playing, it was like, it was like a detail where like somebody changed jobs, and then somebody was moving. It was one of those things where it just dissolved, it wasn't like a bad thing. And then come back around, I'm now in a band again with Mark Brennan.
Oh, right now you are?
Yeah, the Undercover. And
Nice.
He hit me up like about a month ago and was like, hey, and I'm like, sure. So it's really funny that the first band I was in was with them, and then now this band.
That's cool.
Yeah, so...
Who's the guitar player in Undercover?
Jay and Swinger.
Okay.
I think I said it right. And then Chris Mills is on bass.
Oh, you got Chris Mills.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for that group.
Yeah, we're having...
Has he been out for a while? Or
He was out. Well, he was doing in an original band, Todd and the Bad Ideas. So he was, playing different venues.
That's
so not
right.
the venues that a lot of them that we tend to circulate around.
Sure.
And so, and I can't think of the name, but he's kind of doing another band like side, how we all just kind of have our fingers and everything. So he's kind of doing something else like that too. And I just saw Chris posted. He was playing drums somewhere this weekend, and I just saw him for rehearsal last night. I was like, why didn't you tell me?
Little Rock.
Yeah, I was like, I would have came. I didn't even know.
They had a whole Andy Mann tribute.
Oh, okay,
going on this weekend. We made it Friday.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then I wanted to see some of the Saturday stuff too, but we didn't make it over there. I can't even remember what was going on this weekend.
Yeah, so Jay and Mark were both in that original band. And I actually recorded, so they did a song, and Mark called me. It's been like 6 or 7 years. He's like, hey, we have this song, this original, we need this female part. Would you come over? And I was like, absolutely. So I just drove across town, laid this tracks down, and left. And that's the coolest thing about this kind of, community is you're just always friends and you're always connected. Like, you may not be in the same band together, but you're in the same community together, and it never, like, once you've done it, it never goes away. So it was cool, and I'm having a lot of fun with them. It's different songs, like a lot of I'm having to work a lot harder because
Well, you're learning
it's all new songs.
different decade, right?
Yeah.
Or two.
Mostly. Well, we're doing some of the same stuff, but a lot of it, like a lot of these songs are hit songs, but when they were out, I was in a band. And so you know how it is when you're in a band, you don't listen to the radio. You don't listen to the new songs because every time you do listen to music, it's your set list. You're consumed with your practice. And so you hardly listen to anything else. So I kind of vaguely heard, I was like, yeah, I've heard this once or twice, but it's totally making me work because a lot of the songs, if I was like we did one rehearsal. I'm like, yeah, I know all these songs. Like I have played them in one band or another at some point.
Yeah, and we had a great gig.
Yeah, and it was a good, and so, but this is not that stuff. It's a lot of different stuff. So I'm really, which is good. I should have to work harder because sometimes, you get lazy and just like want to do it the easy way. So it's making me work harder, and but I'm really enjoying it. And we got 20 songs down. So you know how it is when you're starting from scratch. It feels like it's all uphill. Just building up the set list. But we're 20 songs deep now.
That's good.
So it's a good start. But we're in that verge thing where you're like, should we go ahead and book a gig? And then that forces us to be ready then. But then if we do, what if we're not? But we're kind of at that pivotal moment where we're trying to figure it out.
You guys focus in Columbus area?
Yeah.
So the circuit.
Yeah.
The circuit.
The circuit. We're doing this circuit.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. So I'm totally looking forward to it. I can't wait.
What are some of the things that you look for when you start to decide whether you're going to work with a group or a person or
It's the personality always the temperament and the personality because I remember I was looking for a guitar player one time with Purple Betty, right? And and then people throw around different people, and this guy I think was new. He wasn't even from here, and they're like, well, he's really, really good, but he's an asshole. And so I was like, okay, I don't want to do asshole because I feel like if you're good, maybe not the best, but if you're good, you can always get better, but you can't fix asshole. Like once you're an asshole, you're kind of probably always an asshole. So I would rather not have the bet, like if the guitar player wasn't as good as him, but wasn't an asshole, then you're only going to improve, right? So that it's just the definitely the camaraderie and the temperament and enjoying it. Like if you don't want to enjoy it and you don't want to do it, then don't do it. So that's what makes it fun. It should feel like, hey, we're all going out to hang out and party together, and then let's just all happen to get on stage and play an instrument and do a song. Like that's how I kind of want it to feel, that kind of vibe.
Oh, for sure.
Where you're just having a good time, because that's kind of the whole point. You don't want the joy. Once the joy is sucked out of it, then it becomes work.
Yeah, I never like for music to feel like work. To your point, it's got to be. That good feeling. Yeah, for sure. What you're doing is worthwhile. Yeah, because you put a lot of time and energy and money, and the instruments and all the things you buy and the stuff that you do. Yeah, I don't even. You know what? I would use my Peloton every day, but now I don't because it's replaced by a drum set in the basement. So there we go. I'm giving up fitness for music. That's my excuse, at least. That's all right. But yeah, you give up a lot of space, a lot of time, a lot of money, and you do it so that you can enjoy it. And if you enjoy it, then it's not work. When it starts becoming work, then you're no longer enjoying it, for sure. No, that's for absolute sure. Yeah, so that's definitely what I look for. And the rest, the last band I was in was Speakeasy, and I kind of picked a lot of the songs, and they were all over. I got good feedback, though, because it was we would do the Commodores easy, and then we would do Zeppelin. It was just, so that just shows the songs in my brain. They're just like all over the place. And people were like, I had a guy go, I've never seen anybody do that different of kind of music, and once said it was refreshing. Those are the bands I like. And he was like, it's so, and then we're doing Maggie May and stuff. And then, so now, and this one, it was kind of, Mark started it, so it's kind of nice. I mean,
I've named some songs to Mark Brennan.
Undercover?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so it's kind of cool to kind of be told what to do. Like, this is not that they're telling me, they're like,
let me say, no one's telling you what to do, man.
Yeah, you're right.
No way.
You're right, but I let them think they are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the collaboration part.
That's right. But they had a set list together, kind of. So it was kind of nice because let me tell you, sometimes you don't want me to pick songs because I'm an emotional son. I'm just an emotional person. Not like I'm losing my shit emotional. Just everything I do is with feelings. Yeah. I'm a fork licker. If you don't know what that is, I got told one time that's a bad thing. When you eat your food, you lick the fork after because I'm thoroughly enjoying every bite. So anyways, I don't let me pick the songs because if I was driving on the way here and I heard Olivia Newton-John, Please Mr. Please, I could be in a rage metal band and go, hey guys, I think we should do this Olivia Newton-John song because or hey, let's do Neil Diamond.
You can feel it.
Love on the Rocks. I was feeling that today.
Oh,
and it absolutely doesn't go with anything we're doing. And no one may ever want to hear me sing Love on the Rocks, which I don't even know if I can do out in public.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. So I tell the guys in the band, I was like, look, I just told them last night we had rehearsal. I was like, if I pick a song and it's not going to go over well, it's not going to hurt my feelings, just say no, because I come up with some shit that's just like, I heard it on the way to work today and I was like, God, I love this song, and I'm all emotional and I'm stuck in whatever year I was in when I loved that song, and I think it's going to be awesome, and it probably isn't. And so I'm okay with you telling me we shouldn't do this. I mean, nobody probably wants to hear Olivia Newton-John,
You'd be surprised.
I don't know, maybe.
Especially in a rage band.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a good spin.
That. I'm gonna have to try that out.
Be a good spin.
Yeah, but so I don't get my feeling. That's why I was like, trust me, it won't hurt my feeling. Like sometimes they're on, but if it's not, say no, Tammy, no, this is not gonna work. And so it's been pretty good because I'll be, I'll think of that. Oh, this would be a great song, and then later I think about that. Like, what are you thinking? There's no way that's gonna, it'll be some song where there's like 11 instruments. Let's play this song, but. So then I just go home and sing them by myself and get it out of my system. Do
you see yourself bringing ideas into Undercover?
Yeah. We've done some. So, like we're doing Alanis Morissette, Hand in My Pocket. And it's selfish because I just want to play the harmonica part. Not because the harmonica part's so cool, but I just think it's cool. It's just cool to do something different. Like, they're going to be like, I'm singing, and then randomly I'm just going to pull it out of my pocket and whip out the harmonica part. So I just like to do a performance. So that's why, that's the whole feeling behind it. So that song, and like I'll randomly, because people always have me doing guy songs, which I like doing. Songs.
I do a
lot of guy songs. And so last night I was like, hey, what about, and I mentioned a few female artists, like, could we just pick maybe one or two of the female songs? So, but I'm totally enjoying it. We do an Audio Slave song, and
which one?
Show Me How to Live.
Oh my God.
Right? So I kind of, I've never sang that, right? And it's funny because Jay was like, I was worried about you singing that because it's low and it's kind of gross, and I had a blast with it. Like I had set, because it's kind of a good blues funk feel. That's like, feels like it's in my wheelhouse.
Is there any possibility to get the Potter, Grace Potter tune?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I need to, because
that, to me, Tammy, that's kind of your song.
It was my song.
When it comes to like belting out a rock tune.
Yeah, I love to belt that. I love to belt that song.
I loved playing that song. I really felt that was a good song for you. To cover.
I like those, like, how it is, like, you like some of those songs where you just da-da-da, and then the songs where I get to belt, like, that's my treat to myself.
It comes from the
like from the soul. Yeah, deep. So
for you, that was a great delivery.
Yeah.
I just,
thank you. Thank you. I love that. I love
all
that.
the times I've been able to play, perform with you.
Yeah.
That's the one.
What's
but
funny?
I would think that Undercover would appreciate that.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. The first time I played that was with Mark. So I'm going to remind him. Do you remember that? Yeah. So we played that in that. And that's funny because, like, that part where you just let the belting rock and roll chick out of you. I get to do that sometimes. So when we rehearse now, we'll be doing some song like we do Any Way You Want It, right? So you get to belt on Any Way You Want It. And I'll just hold the note forever just because I'm like having such a good time. Like it's not, I don't even care. And I know they're looking at me like, is she ever going to end this? But it's like, no, this is my time to belt. I don't get to, I don't get to do this at work or anywhere else. So I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I definitely will bring that up to Mark.
Yeah. Ooh la la.
Yes. Ooh la la. Paris. Ooh la la.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh. Yeah, fun.
You got me down on my knees. Yeah.
It's
that little guitar lick.
As a guitar player, though, I really, it was just a great dynamic.
No, I love those. I love those kind of simple, which I don't play guitar like that, so I don't want to, minimize that it's simple lick, but that seemingly toned down, broke down chord sound, like that audio slave song, that part I love. As soon as I hear that, something about that just makes the rocker part in me come alive. So, yeah, that's all the kind of stuff my dad did, and when I sang with him, we did all that stuff, and that just brings out a whole another side to you. I can't ever just drive in my car on the way to work and sing that, like belt it out like that. I mean, the people at Chick-fil-A sometimes appreciate it, but on the way to I go to Chick-fil-A every freaking morning. Like we're on a first name basis. It's a serious addiction.
Little chicken sandwich thing?
Chicken minis, chicken and sweet tea. I'm from the South, so I have to have my sweet tea.
You're a sweet tea lover.
Yeah, it's like an addiction.
So what's your first memory of sweet tea, and how is it still sticking with you then?
It's still, so I grew up with it now, thank God. So when I grew up, in the South, it's sweet. It's so sugary that you're diabetic when you drink it.
Is it different in Oklahoma?
Absolutely different.
Versus where you
here, yeah. McAllister. So I'm doing a plug for McAllister's. They have my favorite sweet tea. There's a lot of I'm a sweet tea connoisseur, and sometimes I will drive 40 minutes to go, and I don't care what kind of shit food they have. If their tea's good, I will go there and eat.
Have you tried Milo's tea?
I have not.
It's not bad.
I'm gonna have to try it out. My family, so Georgia, so it's very, very southern homemade tea. Like that's all. Like I'm pretty sure that's all my kids had in their bottles, which is horrible. Now I probably should call and apologize. But like you just like, hey, let's get you wired up on sugar and caffeine and go to bed. But but yeah, that's definitely my thing, and of course grits. Every time I go to family reunions, I just go everywhere and eat grits like a crackhead. I eat grits 4 times a day.
Do you make grits?
I don't anymore. I did when I was home with the kids, but it's a lot of work to make homemade grits for just me. So I don't. I did then. So when I go, and at home they make them. Most places make them from scratch. Homemade. So. My family's really annoyed with me when I go to visit because I'm like, let's go get grits. And they're like, you just had grits. And I'm like, well, I need to get them some more before I get out of here. I do grits and I do donuts because for some reason, donuts in the South are way better. Georgia.
Why?
I don't know. Like I've never had a bagel. I never had a bagel till I moved here. Ever. So everything there's a donut place, and it's like some grandma that makes them homemade with homemade chocolate and homemade maple on them, and they're just big and fluffy, and everybody's lined up at 5 a.m. when they open to get them. It's a totally different thing. And so when I go home, I know because I fly there, so I'm in their car and they have to drive me to get donuts and grits all the time, like I'm some kind of junkie.
Where do you get grits in Columbus?
I have.
So
I've had them at Cracker Barrel. They're not homemade, but I do get them at Cracker Barrel when I go to Cracker Barrel. Yeah. Now I got to find a grit place. Now that's a mission. Thanks, Len. No.
Oh, you're welcome. No, what was the other thing you said? Grits and
donuts and
all right. So
Resch's is where I get donuts.
Okay, I was going to ask. Oh, that's on the east side.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, that's on the east side. They don't have maple Lon Johns that aren't filled. So I miss maple Lon Johns. That's a thing for me.
What about Buckeye donuts? Don't they have
I've
that?
had them, but I just like the plain old. No, they don't. They have all this stuff in it. I just like plain. I just want bread and sugar in large quantities.
Have you tried Schneider's Bakery in Westerville?
No.
At 2:00 in the morning?
No, and let me tell you how many times I'm in Westerville at 2 a.m. So
I mean, I used to be.
Me too.
I grew up in Westerville.
Me too. I missed that out. I knew you did.
You didn't grow up in Westerville. Did you live in
No,
Westerville?
I came. I live right now in Black Lick, Gahanna.
Yeah.
So I'm right by Westerville all the time. So I've lived
That's
there,
cool.
and I've lived in Hilliard. That's since I've been here.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a crazy story. Yeah. So I won't name any areas, but when I moved, the government will move you and things like that. And so I had to pick a place online. And and I'll just say, when you look at places to live online, like condos and places, they look really good. And that may not be the case. So I found a place, had the kids, had a bunch of our stuff in a truck. We were moving, everything else was going to be delivered. Rented it all unseen, right? Because I wasn't here.
Yeah.
So
you just made it happen.
Call and
you
you look at it and you sign the lease and everything. And I got here and I got to the place, and like online the pictures of this beautiful like resort style pool and tennis courts, and I'm pumping the kids up that were because we've always owned a home, so we weren't buying at this point, we were just relocating. So you're trying to sell them on, we're not buying a house and you're not having your trampoline and all that stuff. This is what we're gonna have though. It's gonna be awesome. We get there, there's people sleeping on the tennis court. There's no net. There's drug deals going on all night.
Oh
the
my
next
gosh.
door, like people are, I don't know, I don't want to say drug deals, but whatever they were doing required people to go in and out 100 times and knock, and there was fights. And I was horrified. And I was afraid I was going to have to stay there. But thank God it was like one of these properties where they own multiple, and they wouldn't let me get out of my lease, but I could choose another place. So
And you end up doing that.
Yeah. If not, then
Good for you.
Yeah. But it was
the adventures that life
it was horrible. We
unfolds before us.
the kids were scared to go sleep in their
my
rooms,
God.
like, because it was so shady, and there's nothing we could do when we got there, because we had the key and there was a drop up, but there's nothing we could do to get out at that point, right? So they slept with me in the living room, huddled by like little puppies, horrified, and we hardly slept, and everybody was scared to death because it was just, there was gunshots, and it was in the very southern part of Columbus. It was a really rough area. So thank God we got out of that situation. But, how you don't know what you're going to do, and that's what you have to do with your job. And you just load up everybody and you're like, hey, I'm the smart adult and I'm making good decisions. And then, you got people that trust you to do that. And then you put them in this situation. It was It was horrifying.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But we got out of it.
But you managed through it.
Yeah, we did. We did.
You keep doing it.
Oh, we got lots of good stories from it. So, I mean, we, me and the kid, we get together and laugh all the time at the situations. We've had a lot of fun, when you have to leave everybody. I lived, and you have to move, like, I think at the end I was 16 hours away from everyone. And I have this family there's like 11 on my grandfather's side and 10, and then they all have kids, and so everywhere I went back home I was probably related to somebody. So it's such a strange experience to then move somewhere and be anonymous. Like, that was such a weird thing to do, and then and just to be in this strange new environment and not know anyone. And so me and the kids, we just kind of like bonded together through that. And we'd have movie nights, and I think American Idol was on really big then, and so we would do our pretend American Idol auditions. They would like, you should go on American Idol, and they'd make me. I remember I was going to do my audition for them, and I was being stupid, of course. So I'm doing the Running Man, and I slipped on a cable, popped my ankle. It was so swollen I couldn't walk.
No way.
Yeah. So I was trying to play it off, and then I had to go to the doctor, and he was like, "This is horrible." Like, he assumed it was like some ski injury or maybe some Olympic tryouts or something. And I said, well, I was doing the Running Man and my fake American audition, American Idol audition. And then he just looks at me and said, how old are you? So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's when I knew I was not grown up at that point, but it was a great experience. And, and that's where the music thing came in. Because when you go somewhere and you're so anonymous, it was such a hard feeling for me to adjust to that. Not that you needed to be known or seen, but to know people and interact and connect. And like everywhere I went back home, I was connecting with people that were family or I went to school with, or, you know, like my grandfather ran for, there were city council members. It's a big family.
Big deal.
Yeah. And so then to come here and go a million places and not know a single person. So then when I met the music scene, that changed everything. And so now I feel, you know, enmeshed in the environment and the community.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that, because that making me feel like I was a part of it made me feel grounded to make my kids feel grounded. You know, whereas if I just would have been lost and kind of flailing around, I think it wouldn't have given them as much stability. And so it, you know, I'm so grateful for that. Like, it's not even the music as it is the people who do the music that makes it worthwhile. Because if it was just the music, I'd sit home and listen to my stereo. But I don't. I go out and listen to everybody because it's the people. It's not the music for me.
Oh, yeah.
The music is a great byproduct of great people.
Oh, it's nicely stated.
Yeah, thank you.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So it's been a great, and I met you all these years ago. And
you
then,
did, yeah.
And then
and we played, and we, you know, and I'll go see Undercover for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't wait for that to happen.
I'm excited to see,
I'm
too.
excited to see all these new bands coming
I'm
around.
excited. I'm doing, you know, I play with Paul Weiss, and we do some little acoustic stuff and random things. And so, like, who knows what we're going to do, you know? He and I will get together and start coming up with some, you know, he's always running ideas through his head. And so I don't know if that's good. He and I get together because we just run with ideas and we don't solidify any of them sometimes. But eventually we will. We will. And I just have a really good time with them. And, you know, and the Vinyl Sunshine people, oh, my God, I just love them. You know, the drummer Jared is, you know, it's funny because I always tell people, if I had a brother, it would be Jared. And my family's like, Mom, you have two brothers. So, but you know,
that's how close you are to him.
Yeah, it's just with that connection of that same sense of humor and that same temperament. And then, you know, and then Rob and Patrick and Karen, and then Chris is from Cleveland. And,
just
you know,
all great,
like Chris lives in Cleveland, the bass player, and I would say, hey, just come stay at my house. And, you know, he wouldn't get a hotel. I have an extra room. It's just that kind. And then they'd hang out and I'd make us dinner and we'd rehearse and then go sit on the patio and eat, you know, whatever I'd cooked. And
you're right at home, aren't you?
Yeah. And it was, so I just love it. And then, you know, they're partners, you know, their girlfriends and their husbands. And, you know, of course I told you earlier, I love Stacy, you know, and she's always,
oh my gosh, yes.
She's always, do you pay her to promote the show?
No, she's been very supportive since the very beginning.
Yeah. You know what?
And she, I think, genuinely is as passionate about local music.
She is very,
as anyone.
Yeah. You know what? She promotes everything. And you know what? She doesn't just promote everything. She promotes everyone. She's got a beautiful soul. For sure. I told you, she said I'm her favorite extrovert, which you and I discussed. I'm a closet introvert, but you know, so that's how that goes.
That's all good until you hit the stage.
Yeah, until you hit the stage. Yeah, for sure.
Well, Tammy Mills, you know, it's always going to be a pleasure to see you continue to get involved in the things that you do, and you bring so much to whatever you're doing.
I appreciate it. I just have fun, and what I hope to bring is just that I just want to be friends and play music. So that's my whole thing.
And feel good.
And feel good. That's right.
And
that's
spread
right.
the wealth.
That's right. That's right.
Stuff.
For sure. Well, I appreciate you having me here.
Oh my gosh. We finally got the date.
I know.
We talked about it a year ago.
I know. I've been nervous for like 4 days about this. Yeah, I was so nervous. I was like, yeah, and I wore the wrong belly button ring. So I don't know if you can hear that through the podcast that it's the wrong one, even though my shirt doesn't show it. It's inside. It's inside. It hurts inside, Lynn, that it's the wrong choice of jewelry.
Oh my God.
But I think I'll be okay.
You're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
And I think everyone will enjoy getting to hear you and know you a little bit more and a little bit better.
That's right.
And when we see you, we'll be, we'll be a little more knowledgeable about what's going on with you.
Yeah, I didn't tell any of the traumatic singing stories, so we kept it clean.
Oh, well, you can come back and tell me.
This is the dark story.
And look out for a podcast potentially that may or may not be coming.
Yeah. Me and my son. We'll see. We'll discuss that.
We'll keep our eyes peeled
That's
on
for sure.
social media.
For sure. Well,
Episode. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that was it. Thank you very much.
Episode number 75. Tammy Mills. Thank you so much.
It's a wrap. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.